Hello, I'm Mark Whittington. I work here at the University of Aberdeen Business School, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about organising a charity event. I've been an academic for perhaps the last 20 odd years. Before that I was an accountant. At the moment, as well as having my job here at the university, I'm also a director of a small local charity. So I'd like to help you think through how you might organise a great event. Before you dive in and start to do the exciting stuff, it's a really good idea to think for a moment too about, why am I doing this? Why are we doing this together? What's the cause? Why is the cause really good? Why do I want to raise money for this charity? Who's going to gain? Raising money is going to be part of the reason for doing this, but it's probably not the only reason. It'll be really good to gain some skills as you're going along, and it'd be also great if this isn't just a one-off event, but some of the people who come along, or you yourselves, actually think, I want to keep working with this charity, I want to keep raising money for them. It's great that you want to run a charity event. Let's start off by asking some key questions about what you're going to do. A good place to start is with the question why. Why are we going to do this? Only by being sure about why you do something can you at the end decide whether it's been a success. So why would you run a charity event? I'm sure it involves raising money for your good cause. It may also involve you learning some skills that are going to be really helpful as you move on to other things in life. It may be that this is going to be the first event of many, so you'll want to build enthusiasm, build talent, build a team as you go from one event to the next. Obviously, a key question is, which charity are you going to raise money for? Maybe you already know this, but if you don't, there are lots of good causes, and it's worth taking some time to think through which one you're going to raise money for. Perhaps it's going to be one that you really care about. If you really care, then you're going to have some enthusiasm for this cause, and you're going to want to raise as much money as possible and make people aware of how good it is and share your enthusiasm. So what are we going to do? What sort of event or fundraiser are you going to hold? Sometimes that'll be obvious because you're joining in with some national campaign for a cake morning or something. Other times we'll have some choices about what we do. And what we choose is going to be based on the resources we have available and the skills that we have, and perhaps what excites us as well. Another very important question to answer early on is, what are you going to do? Maybe this isn't much of a decision because you're going to be part of a national set of coffee mornings or something like that. But other times you'll have the chance to decide for yourselves what it is that you're going to do. Maybe it's going to be a sponsored walk, maybe a coffee morning, perhaps a clothes swap, maybe a sponsored silence. That might be for you, it might even be for your teacher. There's a whole range of things you can think about. If it's a bit fun and it's a bit different, well, maybe that's good too. How do you make the choice? Well, what skills do you have in your team? How many people do you have? The more people you've got, maybe the more choices you've got and the bigger variety of things that might be happening. How much time do you have to plan what you're going to do and to advertise it? How much money do you have to invest in the project? Quite often you have to spend some money up front in order to raise some money later. That might be things like ingredients for the cakes. Have you got a place to hold it in? Maybe if you've got a great place that works for coffee mornings, that will mean you decide to have a coffee morning. Maybe it's a different place that fits something else. And finally, and very importantly, who are the potential givers going to be? What sort of thing would interest and attract them? Who's going to give you money? And maybe who's going to give you things to sell? So once you've decided what you're going to do, why you're going to do it, you then need to plan. This is probably the most important part of making sure you have a successful event or fundraiser. You need to think through the problems, find solutions, learn to work together as a team. Planning is really important. Planning is like building a jigsaw, sorting out the different parts of what you're going to do and to make sure that it fits together. So we need to plan ahead, and it takes time to do this well. Planning ahead also means that we're going to think through what would a success look like? How much money should we be raising? How many people do we want to be aware of our cause? What sort of things do we want to learn as we do this? You'll need a team, and the team will need to have different roles. There'll need to be some people who are coordinating what's going on, maybe a couple of people looking after the money, maybe a marketing team, a team that makes stuff, and finally a team that makes sure it all happens. So let's think of each of these in turn. So first of all, coordinating. So you want to encourage the rest of the team. You want to help people get on with their tasks. Don't interfere too much, but make sure they're clear about what they're going to do. You want to make sure that if anyone needs some more help, then you'll listen to them and try and fix that problem. Try and think about the people who are involved as well as the task. It's all too easy to be focused on what you're doing rather than who is doing it, and you actually want them to help you tomorrow and the day after perhaps, as well as today. Maybe you need a dry run. In other words, have a practice. Let's see if it all works together, and the coordinator would be a good person to try and make sure that happens. If you do a dry run, you can see what goes right, what goes wrong, and fix it before it becomes embarrassing. Who's going to do what? Well, should you choose the person who's best at maths to do the money stuff? Maybe not. Remember, we're all learning, and hopefully we're going to do more events. And as we each gain skills, we can perhaps do different tasks next time than we did before. Okay, money. Money is important. You're doing a charity event. You're trying to raise money. We need to plan the costs and the prices, and sometimes we refer to this as a budget. If you've got a cake sale and a cake costs £1 to bake, then for sure you're going to need to sell it for more than £1. Some costs are going to happen independent of the cakes, like printing invitations, booking the room if there's a cost to that, and you'll need to make sure your prices get back these costs as well as the ingredients. The people trying to do these costs and prices need to talk to everyone to understand what's happening. The marketing team. This is really crucial. Who are you trying to attract? Who are you trying to bring in? How will you reach them? Maybe it's online, maybe it's by leaflets, maybe it's by word of mouth, WOM. Often that's the most effective. And what is the message? Is it about the charity, or are you going to have a fun catch line, such as things like, eat cake, save lives? And maybe after that explain what the charity is. You are going to have to make some stuff to sell. Possibly you'll be persuading others to make the stuff or to give you stuff. Maybe that's easier. If you've got to make stuff, like maybe calendars or cakes, you need to organise the production of these and make sure that people are making stuff that people will want to buy. Think through how to persuade others to help you if they're going to make it for you. And if you're going to run something like a clothes sale or a jumble sale, how are you going to persuade others to give you the stuff? And is there particular stuff you would like to give your jumble sale a particular theme? Maybe a toy sale. Then we need a team to make it happen. This team needs to get permission from a variety of people to make sure your event is okay. Is it okay to use the location? Have you got permission for that? Has somebody else booked it? Maybe you need to ask the charity if they're happy for you to raise money for them. Sometimes this can be more complex than you think. If you think you're showing a film to raise awareness, that can often involve a lot of licenses. You need to make sure that any costs you're going to incur for the room, for example, are reasonable, and that you have enough chairs and tables and other things you're going to need for the event. So we've done all the planning and we've got to the event itself. It's worth thinking about what you're doing here and make sure that you get everything sorted. Having everything in place, everything looking neat and tidy and attractive, having a smile on your face could make all the difference between this being a great event and something that's a bit sad. Okay, let's imagine we've planned the event and it's about to happen. So, what's important here? Well, just before the event itself, make sure you've sorted the room and or the location. Make sure it looks good. Make sure you arrange the cakes. And if you do a dry run, this is where you might spot some things that will make it just that bit better. Maybe if you're having a cake sale, you could do with some flowers around to make it look nice, to make people feel relaxed and in a mood to spend some money. Also, just before you start, remember why this cause is so important. If you're enthusiastic about the cause, you're going to raise more money. So the event starts. Always remember to smile. It may be a very serious cause, but you still need to smile. You still need to make people feel welcome and glad they attended the event. The attendees need to feel that they're special and that they're part of what is going on. They need to enjoy it and have fun. At the end, you need to say goodbye and thank you for coming. You might organise another event and you'd like them to come back and give again. So now you've done the event, that's great. But maybe that's not quite the end. Maybe it's a good idea to think and reflect on what you've done, how it went, and maybe ask the question, if we did this again, what would we do differently? So the event is finished. You said goodbye to the last visitor who's just given you a cheque for a lot of money. And what happens next? Well, you might feel tired. You might feel like going home, but maybe not quite yet. Immediately after, you're going to need to tidy up. Don't leave that to somebody else. Maybe somebody's going to count the money. Always use at least 2 people for that to make sure that it's absolutely done right. If you're the coordinator, or perhaps even somebody else, make sure you say thank you to the team. They've done a great job and you want them to be enthusiastic and you want them to do it again. And then a little later, make sure you remember to send the money to the charity. They can only spend it on the good cause if you send it to them. Send thank you notes or emails to those involved. If you've got the names and the addresses of the people who came, maybe say thank you for coming. Again, if they feel positive and feel like they were part of the event, they might come again. If you had something like a cake sale, you particularly need to thank the people who made the cakes. Then we can think about what's happened. We can think about what we do differently. We can think about what did we learn. How are we going to make the next event even better? Having a little review at the end is a really good time because you will still remember what went well and what could have gone that little bit better. So, as you organise your charity event, I hope you have fun. I hope you help others by raising money and awareness, and I hope you grow your skills. Thanks for listening. So, best wishes for your event or fundraiser. I really hope you raise money, have fun, perhaps start to be involved in a great cause that you want to stick with, and finally, start to learn that helping others can be a great part of life. Thank you.